Oh my gosh, I've just arrived in London. I'm currently standing at the historic Old Spitalfields Market, and I'm spending the next week in London hopping on 5 different unique culinary tours. So if you're a food and drink lover heading to the English capital, join me as we enjoy these 5 tasty tours of London. If you're a foodie visiting the British capital and really keen to check out some of the city's most famous food markets, cafes, restaurants, and of course you have to visit a British pub, then a food tour is a great way to learn about the history of the city as well as its food culture. If you're traveling solo, booking a group tour is also a great way to make new friends. My first tour was with the company called Eating Europe. They have food tours all over Europe, and in London they have a signature tour that covers the East End, which will have you walking through Brick Lane, Shoreditch, and Spitalfields. Our first stop served up a classic British bun filled with crispy bacon and H1 sauce. Our next stop was a Chinese bakery. They serve classic custard buns, but uniquely filled with sweet yam. This is indicative of Britain's colonization of Hong Kong and Macau. And in Macau, those Portuguese tarts are really popular. Our next stop was one of the best fish and chip shops in all of London, and I'm sure lots of places say this, but for real, you've got to go on this tour just to explore and taste poppies. What you'll see is on the group tours, instead of having to order a huge portion, the tour companies work with local restaurants to provide small portions so you can enjoy a little bite. So you never feel overwhelmed and can really taste your way through the city. We walked through beautiful historic buildings, saw some Trump and Elon Musk graffiti, and then arrived in Brick Lane, which is where we've got the large Bangladeshi population, and it's famous for its Indian restaurants. This tour company really loves the restaurant called Aladdin. They ordered us 3 different curries, including Britain's most famous dish, tikka masala, which is a Indian curry that was developed in London, and the story goes that someone tossed in a can of tomato sauce, which makes it a little sweet. We then headed to a famous bakery in Brick Lane that makes bagels. They're filled with this delicious smoked beef, a little squirt of British mustard, and some crunchy pickles. This place is open 24 hours a day, which is just totally wild, so you can enjoy it late at night or in the early morning. It's really hearty. You can see there's a huge lineup outside, so make sure to pack your patience. We then walked through the Brick Lane area and really got a chance to see all the cool culinary experiences, from alley-side patios to big open space patios. We finished at Humble Crumble, which is by far the most popular British dessert spot of the moment. It serves classic British apple crumble with delicious custard, torched meringue. Each of the little cups are also topped with a little sprinkle of dried rose petals. This is the classic. If you're visiting London and come across a Humble Crumble, you can also order it with rhubarb and some other fruits. Absolutely delicious. Brigit's afternoon tea bus tour is absolutely iconic. If you want to do something super touristy and not feel any shame about it, you should book this London double-decker tour afternoon tea. It starts at the Victoria bus station, and we got a great seat with beautiful views. The classic afternoon tea features crustless sandwiches, as well as cupcakes and other sweets. They also brought out some scones with clotted cream and jam. You can order coffee or from a list of different teas. And as you're going through the city, there's an audio that explains that you're passing through famous attractions and museums. A really great way to see the city if you have mobility issues. Also, if it's pouring rain and the weather's really bad when you're visiting London, book this tour and you can easily see all of the highlights from the comfort of your beautiful double-decker bus while you're sipping a lovely Earl Grey and delicious scones. Context Travel is a tour operator that has tours all over the world, and they're unique in that they only offer private tours. So if you're looking to dig deep, you want to have a guide that can answer lots of your personal questions, book Context Travel's tour called British Food Culture Essentials. The tour starts at the iconic and historic Fortnum and Mason, which is literally a foodie's dream. It's a multi-store building that was originally established in 1707. The main floor, when you walk off the street, is almost just intentionally set up for tourists. Everything they sell on this floor is something that's jarred or canned, so you can easily pack it in your luggage to take home. The tea area is particularly famous. They always have a steeped tea to sample, so ask to have a sip of whatever the blend of the day is. The teas also spill out into the cookie biscuit area, so you can buy boxes of delicious shortbread cookies. They have wine. They also have really bougie baskets, like picnic baskets, that people purchase and take home all the way to Japan just to say that they have a Fortnum and Mason basket. This room was just preserves and honey, so if you love raspberry, blueberry jam and the like, bring one of these home. This is a delicious selection of honeycomb that's jarred. They also had a table that included a map of the UK and showcased where all of these honeys are sourced. Take the elevator up and you'll find the dinnerware, porcelain, ceramic section. This is where you can buy entire table sets to take home. They also have really adorable branded teapots. The parlor is an ice cream shop as well as cafes. You can pop by for a little ice cream or grab a coffee and sit down in the cute cafe. Once you're finished on this floor, you're going to want to head downstairs, take the elevator to the ground, and that's where you're going to find the amazing grocery store that also has a hot food section for takeaway. I was amazed. I've never seen Stilton cheese sold in ceramic little tubs. This cheddar is also sold in a wax situation, which looks like a hockey puck and would be perfect to take home, especially for a hockey lover. The grocery store is absolutely bougie. You've got really gorgeous butcher section. The produce is postcard perfect. We've got a huge selection of cheeses. They've got British cheeses as well, imported from Italy, France, and the like. And just look at that cheese. Oh my goodness. There also is a whole Spanish section. So this is an area that just serves these are Spanish potato chips. And look at all of these legs of jamon. Oh my goodness. Makes me feel like I'm in Madrid. In the prepared section, this whole area just makes bagels. So you've got all of the lox and smoked meats. And then this area is the British section. So they've got British pies. There's even 100-pound beef Wellingtons, which are $200. And of course, Scotch eggs. So we passed through this area. We're avoiding the temptation of grabbing pastries, but I also just love that they have a whole section that are just scones as well as cheese twists. So classic British fare. My tour guide ordered us some venison salami because deer is so famous here, and then we got a classic Scotch egg because it was invented at Fortnum & Mason, as well as a pork and Stilton pie. We then walked over to Chinatown, which is so colorful. It's right near Soho, right bordering Soho, and it's a really beautiful spot. You can see it feels like you're just teleported to Asia. In this area, they wanted to showcase some of the UK's influence, the British Empire's influence around the world. So we had Jamaican patties, picked them up, and then headed over to a Singaporean restaurant to try their curry puffs. What's interesting is you can see both the Jamaican patty and curry puff look like a Cornish pasty. So you can see how British culinary tradition influenced the colonies. Tasty. Do I love colonization? Absolutely not. But do I like these delicious pastries? Yes, I absolutely do. Covent Garden is a gorgeous tourist spot which has the classic historic apple market. We skipped through here in search of a newer market in the city that has a really cool food concept. So the Seven Dials Market has really funny names. This is the Cucumber Alley. You're also going to find the Banana Warehouse. The areas of the historic market are named after where they used to store the different fruits and veg. We hopped up at Pick and Cheese. This is so cool. It's basically a Japanese sushi concept. You know how they typically have sushi on conveyor belts with colored plates so you know how much you're going to be paying. But instead of sushi, they have a menu that showcases unique British cheeses. So we looked through the menu, selected 4 different cheeses, all produced in the UK. Each cheese comes with a complimentary condiment. So you can see the blue cheese came with a brownie. They all pair really well. The cheddar cheese came with a tomato chutney. We've got a brie style cheese that came with a lovely apricot sauce. And this Alpine-style cheese with a crunchy pickled cabbage. Our next stop was Jaluppo. My guide said that this is absolutely the best gelato in the city. It's located directly across from a Michelin star Italian restaurant. So the fine dining restaurant opened this gelato shop to produce its desserts. I got the vegan pistachio as well as a cherry and ricotta gelato. Our last stop of the visit was William Curley. This is a really famous chocolatier. If you're a fan of chocolates, truffles, caramels, read the chocolate descriptions and you'll find lots of Asian inspiration like a yuzu caramel, jasmine tea, and matcha. We recommend the Canadian-inspired maple truffles, which were really delicious. You can see there's indoor seating, you can order a coffee, and there's also an outdoor patio as well. The rose and raspberry as well as apricot wasabi were also big favorites. Sherpa Tours is another tour operator in London that offers group tours. Their signature experience is their Soho tour. So this is a tour that showcases the hustle and bustle of the Soho neighborhood with a penchant for more sit-down dining rather than some of the other tours where we're just eating a quick bite. The tour starts at a Michelin-starred restaurant's bakery called St. John. We had a classic sourdough sandwich filled with British cheddar and chutney, and then they popped open a cider, which is what you could never do in North America, but open drinking in Europe is a favorite. Next up was Sussex. This restaurant is really popular for its British food. They served white wine that is produced in the UK. It's a little petulant, so there's some sparkle. If you book this on a Sunday, they bring you for a Sunday roast, so really highly recommend booking this particular tour on Sunday. It comes with Yorkshire pudding, of course, roast beef, whatever's in season. So we had delicious beets, some crunchy potato, as well as peas. Then we wandered through the nearby park and headed over to Mowgli. This is an Indian restaurant, and it's actually a chain, so you can find them throughout the UK. I actually spotted them when I was in Manchester recently. You start off with a Indian beer, some delicious Mumbai-style street food snacks, and then they brought a fish curry as well as a lentil dal and a really sweet tamarind fried rice dish. Really great to enjoy tastes of the Indian subcontinent on this tour. We needed some spice in our life. Heading through the tunnel, we then walked over to Bao. This restaurant is owned by a multi-Michelin award-winning restaurant group, and we each got one of these delicious Chinese bao buns. So the steamed buns are filled with a really tender beef stew and a spicy mayo. It was a really lovely bite after having a larger meal at the Indian restaurant. Walking past, we then saw this really amazing Soho map. So our guide explained all of the different icons located within the map. And then we finished, of course, at a pub, and the pub vibe was immaculate. It really had a nice pub vibe, what you would expect from any British pub. Historical pictures, lots of locals enjoying a beer. They also serve food here, so we made sure to finish off our tour with a sticky toffee pudding topped with delicious ice cream. The Sherpa tour was really fun. They also offer tours in places like Buenos Aires in Argentina, so check them out. Devour Tours offers one of my favorite tours of the city, Borough Market. Borough Market is a place most people just visit on their own, but the benefits of booking with a tour company is that they, again, have relationships with all the providers. If you were to go to Borough Market on your own and visit even just one of these shops, the portions would be so big that you would only have an appetite to eat one dish. By joining a group tour like this, I think we have at least 4 different stops in Borough Market, and we were able to try 4 of the top producers in the area. When you're visiting on the tour, bring your little grocery bag because you can pick up wedges of cheese, salami. There's lots of produce, so you can act like a local here and actually make some purchases or come back here at the end of the tour and revisit, because then you'll have some more time. We really recommend visiting Borough Market and booking this tour during the week You can see how many people were here. This is earlier in the morning, and it's not too busy. On a weekend, it's absolute mayhem, really, really busy. You can see it was asparagus season when we're visiting, and British strawberries were just starting to be sold in the market, so it was really exciting time when you're visiting in the middle of May. London is full of its first harvest. As we got closer inside the market, you'll see there's risotto sellers. These guys sell torched creme brulee style donuts. They've gone kind of viral on TikTok and Instagram. We've also got paellas, but where are we going to eat? Let's see. We're going to head to the area of Borough Market where they actually have food providers. You'll see there's a whole section of steps here so people can grab their takeout and have a seat. And once we finish meandering through the whole market, as it gets busier and busier, we're actually going to stop to have a bite. We're going to head down from this cathedral to a place called Brood. They serve a breakfast sandwich to die for. It's a bun filled with delicious, crispy, British-style bacon. The bun is made of brioche, and you can see my guides explaining what HP sauce is. So you can usually add a squirt of ketchup or HP sauce. This particular sandwich also included a fried egg. Our next stop was the Ginger Pig. It's a butcher specializing in pork. They also do Scotch eggs and, of course, lots and lots of pork products to take home, but their most famous item is the sausage roll. It's actually famous. You can talk about this sausage roll all over the city at 3 a.m. when you're at a bar, and people that are locals will know all about it. You can see that is a ginormous sausage roll. They cut it in 3 and we each had a slice. I never could have eaten the whole thing myself. Here is a very, very popular fish and chip shop. The typical portions are massive, but we were given a portion that was just perfect, that we could actually eat. So you can see we get a little piece of fried fish as well as chips, and sprinkled with some malt vinegar and salt. It was the perfect bite. Next stop was the gorgeous Leadenhall Market. So we left Borough Market, walked across the street, and had an opportunity to visit one other market. This market, during the lunch hour, is filled with Wall Street type financiers that work in all the bank buildings nearby, and they all have a pint during their lunch break. We stopped at a French patisserie which made the most delicious meringue puffs, so we had a nice little French treat in Leadenhall Market. Make sure to have your camera ready because you really are going to want to take pictures. This is a historic covered market. Today it's filled with restaurants, but back in the day it was a place to purchase fresh poultry. You can see at noon, everyone's drinking. People are pouring champagne and beer. This is something you could never do back in North America, having a boozy lunch on a weekday. But in the UK, this is what we're all about. Last stop is Baby Bacchus. So this is a really cute wine and cheese bar. They poured 2 different wines for us, a sparkling as well as a rosé, and then provided 2 different cheeses. If you're heading to the English capital and you're a foodie, we highly recommend booking one of these 5 delicious food tours of London. We just know you're gonna love every delicious sip and nibble.